Are you having trouble breaking through that ceiling, getting your music out there and your music career taking off? Are you seeing others around you or maybe on social media that are having more success than you and your latest release just is not doing as well as you'd really hoped? Well, maybe the difference between you and them is smaller than you think. Let's have a think on that.
Hello and welcome to the 145 Rural Podcast, where we are here to strengthen music careers and communities one song at a time. And now here's your host, Jacob Wing. Yay!
Hey everybody, and welcome to today's episode. And today we're going to be deep diving into the top 10 habits of successful musicians. This is a continuation from last week's episode where we talked about the 10 worst habits that we as musicians tend to carry around. If you haven't seen that one, go take a look at that or go take a listen, whatever you listen to on your podcasts. And as we get into this, we're just going to break down some of those habits that really can set apart other musicians from those who aren't quite getting as far or getting as many fans or followers or listens, whatever it may be. And if any of this helps you out, please take a second, give us a subscribe, give us a like, give us a follow, whatever it can be. Those things can really help us get the word out there and help other musicians and get more content to you to help you further along in your way. So let's get right into it. First habit of those successful musicians that maybe you're not quite doing yet is they are consistent more than not. So if you see somebody that for some reason is having more success than you, or an artist that you love and you're trying to figure out why they made it where others didn't, a big reason of that can be when it came to their career and putting out music and putting in the grind, practicing their instrument, writing their music, whatever it is, they found a way to be more consistent doing those ups and downs that are inevitable in all careers, all facets of life. You know, we all get busy. We all take on different things. Life will bombard you if you let it. But those who tend to stick out and find success are usually the ones that find a way to, build a routine that's consistent and be there when they need to be there. And if you're finding that might be the thing holding you back, a big thing you can do is, of course, just build a routine. Be very conscious of what you're doing daily, with your free time, with your practice time, with your writing time, how you're promoting yourself to others to get shows and all of that kind of stuff. Just be very mindful of that and start to build a routine around that so that you're more consistent. Figure out why your highs, when things go really good and you're feeling great, why are they happening and what can you do to continue that success? Same thing on the other side. If things are going bad and you feel like you're, especially this time of year, which right now this is coming out in, mid to late January, that's a great time where we start to hibernate. But a lot of musicians that are successful are spending this time not just hiding away and waiting for, the next season of great shows and putting out music. They're writing, they're practicing, they're making connections, they're out doing promotion stuffs on podcasts. They're doing all those things during the down times to stay consistent, stay sharp, find ways to keep the momentum going, which is the hardest part of any of this. And just being consistent is the number one thing when it comes to setting, who's making it, who's not making it. Number two goes right with that, and that is goal setting. So those people that have done that exact scenario where they've looked at the wins they're having and taken a harder look at the failures and the down times and all that kind of stuff, and taken those successes and found a way to set goals around that. Goal setting is one of the best ways to make sure that you're always moving your momentum forward. And if you're not, holding yourself accountable because you've written it down somewhere, you have some way to look back and say, oh, I kind of missed the boat on this one. What can I do to incorporate this, get it where it needs to be, and be more consistent moving forward? So, just make sure that if you haven't taken the time to set your goals, even just for the next month, 2 months, I would say at least for a year. That's always the best, but have some sort of plan, some sort of goals set out for yourself so you know what you're striving for. And it's okay to have one or two of those that are well beyond, the reality of what's going to happen. That's okay if you I want to play a show for 10,000, 20,000 people. Having those lofty goals in the future it's okay. It kind of gives you, your brain starts to function in a way where it starts putting, how do I connect the dots from where I'm at now to get to that? And that can be a great process for your brain. So it's okay to have one or two of those goals in there where you're going to fail, but it's the right mindset, and it's starting to get you working towards those goals long term. And like I said, connecting those dots is the big part on that. Another one that might separate you from, some of those people that you find more successful, or maybe you just haven't got there yet. A lot of the people out there that are having great success, especially now in our current market and the way things are really creative. And I hear a lot of people say sometimes, I'm just not creative enough, or that's not how my mind works. But that's not true. If you're writing music and you're playing music, your mind is finding ways to create sounds that we love to hear from nothing. That is incredible. So creativity is there. It's just applying yourself and being willing to put yourself out there. We're all going to have those moments where we're a little cringe, or we might feel like we're bothering everybody just because we're putting ourselves out there so much. But that creativity starts to blossom when you let it. I know it's there. It doesn't matter who you are. We all are capable of it. So just take examples of those people around you, the ones that you're pointing at and saying they're successful, I could be there. Be sure to reference why they're getting there. Look at their social media pages. What are they doing? What are they doing with their music? What are they doing with their live shows? How are they connecting with fans? Use whatever creative ways they're doing it, and look at yourself and say, how can I do that? What part of that resonates well with me and the people I want to hear my music? And then start to work that into what you do on a daily basis, a weekly basis, a monthly basis, whatever it is. Just follow that path. But creativity is in all of us. And don't let that be the one where you draw the line and say, I'm just not creative like others, because you are. Now, that goes along with number 4 here, and that is self-promotion. And of course, with the creativity and those people that you're pointing out, I guarantee you the ones that are successful are great at promoting themselves, or having others around them that are great at promoting them. So there's that line where we are always afraid of crossing, going to, narcissist or too self-involved. But if you're not out there pushing your music and being proud of what you've done, and finding ways to get others to come in and listen and be part of that, and grow with you, and hold you up when you're not around, to show everybody like, hey, this person's absolutely amazing. Are you looking at it? Are you listening to what they're doing? Self-promotion really is a huge part of what we do now. And that's all social media is. It's just self-promotion. So the better you get at this, the easier the job becomes. You have usually a system in place where, your music's ready to go. You have a fan base ready to listen to it, all those kind of things. But just be aware of where you're at now, and just get better at it little by little. Find ways to, when you're writing songs or recording something, to make something out of that and promote what you're doing. People love to see where you're at in your journey right now. Just find those little moments and become better at finding ways to add that to what you're doing and share it with everybody around you.
Hi there, and welcome to the ad break. We're just going to take a moment to let everybody know about our community of growing members, and if you'd like to be a part of that, just look at the info below, and there will be a click there for an email sign-up to join in and get your voice heard. As well, if you're enjoying this content, please join our Patreon at patreon.com/145rural. There you can join any of our groups, and you can add to the discussion of what topics we will choose that will help you and hopefully future members of our groups, as well as join monthly Q&As and other such benefits. Again, that's patreon.com/145rural, and we look forward to seeing you there. Now, back to that regularly scheduled episode, and enjoy that content. Thanks again.
Number 5, I guarantee you, if you found anybody that is successful, especially if you're talking about the people with the bigger names and the people that really have made it as a musician or an artist, they have resilience and adaptability. And if you've ever read a book about anybody that you love in the music industry, a hero, somebody you look up to, I promise you that story they're telling is one of somebody who was bad in the beginning, didn't have any connections, didn't have any money, didn't have the gear, didn't have, whatever it is, on and on down the list. And, they had failure after rejection, after, nobody listening, nobody wanted to hear them, not getting signed, you could just go on and on and on. It's part of everybody's journey, but every time they found a way to keep their head up, adapt to what was going on, and move in a different direction and keep going forward. That is a fundamental part of anybody that has success. They never are who they thought they were going to be in the beginning. When they look back and said, I want to be here, they've gone in this journey and been okay with the sharp turns that happen and found a way to still keep who they are, keep their principles, keep their music, keep the fundamentals of everything about themselves, but just shift with what was happening. This is a learned skill from day to day that you can just, as something happens that you don't like, or if we take a downward turn, just find a way to make a positive out of it and move forward on to the next thing. And as you do that from day to day, you'll find yourself digging deeper to find the positives in things that aren't very positive or might be perceived as a loss or a failure, and move forward and shift and adjust. So that's a great thing, that all of these habits that great musicians and artists have. Another fundamental of those musicians and artists you're looking up to, especially if they're starting to grow and get bigger numbers and get out there, they record often. And the deal with that is that the more that you're hearing yourself and being self-reflective and, getting your music out there to the world, the more that you're spending time in either your bedroom or a studio or whatever it may be, just capturing the musings and the thoughts and the noodling around you had on your instrument that sounded great, could be a song. And taking that time to develop as an artist and using recording as a tool to put out their ideas and their concepts, those people really start to move forward and go farther because they have something solid. One, to sell and make money off is a huge part of that. Two, it's something to share, find a way to put it in all of their social medias, put that music behind the videos they're making, whatever it may be. There's so many different ways that keeping music coming and flowing and promoting, getting your name out there, people, being top of mind because you have all this music coming out because you're constantly recording. That is one of the things that can start to separate, those who are making it, those who have that growth going forward versus those who are falling behind. And you kind of forget, oh yeah, they're musicians. They have great songs. I like it. I hope something new comes out soon, when you hear their name, but it's never top of mind. So just keep that in mind. That's a great habit to have. Of course, and this next one, number 7, is one that goes for almost any industry you're in. I don't care, but especially musicians. Continuous learning. Always finding ways to incorporate something new that you didn't know how to do before or that you need to do, and learn how to do it and apply to what is going on in your career. A quick example of this would just be like, if you've always had other people doing your artwork for you or whatever it may be, and then you just constantly find yourself being held up by looking for somebody to take the photograph for you or, do some graphic design for you. Maybe that's something that you can watch some YouTube videos on, get better at, get the right software, screw up a couple designs and keep getting better and better and better. And then soon enough, that's something that you do. You don't have to turn to somebody else. You don't have to wait around or pay somebody to do it because you've learned to do that and you've gotten better at it. And this goes on and on and on. You can start doing your own sound for live shows. You can get better at recording and getting all of your stuff taken care of for that, getting better at playing your instrument or your vocal, whatever it may be, continuously learning tricks and scales and different techniques, all those kind of things. As a musician, if you're not growing, then you're dying. It's just the way the life is. It goes for almost everything, especially musicians. So let's go on to number 8. And those things we just mentioned are perfect for that, because number 8 is finding the balance. And that, again, we talked about this in last week's episode, but we're just going to continue forward with it because it's such a big thing. Today, we're asked to do so much as musicians, being that your own booking agent, being your own recording engineer, being your own promoter and running all your social media networks, all of the things that go into being a modern musician today. The better you are at finding a balance and being somebody that can do all those things and keep the momentum going, never letting anything fall too far behind to the point where you might not want to do it anymore. You get bogged down because you don't want to deal with all these things and it's just getting out of hand. The better you can get at being on top of everything, the better your career can be moving forward. I guarantee you, anybody that you look up to or have respect for in the music industry, they're great at doing this. Even if it just feels like they just go up and play shows, I guarantee you there's so much going on behind the scenes that they're a part of, and making sure that all of those are up to the where they need to be, and everybody's feet are being held to the fire that are helping them get there. It's all part of that, finding that balance. Number 9 is one that doesn't get talked about enough, and I think it's more important than almost all of them personally, and that is effective communication. And I can guarantee you could take any one of these and go back and take a look at them, and if you aren't good at being or somebody who communicates well with others, or gets the point across, or does it in a way that also builds up others and includes them and makes them want to work with you, then I guarantee you're not going far in any industry, but especially in this one. And if you have a band or a group that you're in, this one's the most important, because that's just another relationship. That's a family right there, basically, where you are trying to find ways to honor their creativity and their wants and their needs versus what your wants and needs are. And if you're not being open and communicating and finding, common time to talk about where you are, where you need to be, setting goals, setting, tasks and chores and spreading out the work, all those kind of things, and doing it in a way that's friendly, but, it's getting done. That's the difference between somebody who is sitting in the background, and we all know somebody like that, that's just abrasive, harsh, and maybe they don't even say what they need to say. They just say a couple words here or there, but you're supposed to read between the lines somehow. You don't want to be that person. It should all be out in the open. It should be very clear as to what you meant to say, what needs to get done, what I need from you, what can I do for you specifically to help you out, all those kind of things. So communication can be such a huge one, and that's one of the best habits that those that succeed have. Number 10, going on to the last one here. And this is, again, we talked about this last time as well, but one that I personally have a hard time with, and that is collaboration. And it's just part of growing up rural and living in the outside world of not a big city. You get good at doing things on your own. You're great at learning how to do certain things, and you have that DIY mindset where I can get this done no matter what, but that can start to harm you if you aren't finding ways to work with others, to bring others into the fold, to make music with it. The whole point of this whole industry and what we do is to make something that we can share with others, and creating things with others to share with others is one of the best feelings there is out there. Collaboration is just one of the best ways to feel fulfilled and get the most out of what we're doing. And even when it comes to just pure numbers, if you're looking to grow yourself, grow your account, get out to people that haven't heard you yet, working with an artist that either is just a little bit outside of your genre, or even in your genre that has bigger numbers, and you guys just write something together, or you do some instrumental work on what they're doing, finding a way to work together is a great way to draw new eyes and new ears on what you're doing, your projects, and it just starts to grow and blossom from there. So collaboration can be a great thing and very important. Again, those who have made it far have found ways to be collaborative with those around them, even if it's just in the beginning where they took somebody who wasn't great at what they did. Maybe they need to get some songs recorded, and they found an engineer that was just getting their start. They paid him, the bare minimum they could, but both of them grew at the same time. They collaborated together, and then they both started to grow. Those things can really be the difference between somebody who falls behind or gets ahead. So that's 10 great habits of successful musicians. I hope you found that useful. If there's some of them that you haven't gotten good at yet, or you haven't kept in mind or even thought about, try it out. If you have some that maybe we missed, or we can do a follow-up to this one, some more great habits, please share them below, send them to our email, do whatever it is. We would love to hear from you. And if this helped you in any way, give us a like, give subscribe, and maybe catch that next week's episode too. That'd really help us out, and we'll see you then. Bye!